Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Oracle. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have had some very interesting developments within the smaller time frame, which actually enables us to track a couple of different scenarios. But on the large time frame, pretty much everything remains unchanged. We are tracking primarily one of two interpretations, so we are focusing on this wave C to the upside, whether this is within a larger wave 5, whether this is within a wave C of a larger wave 3 to the upside within a leading diagonal, doesn't really matter. The focus remains on this wave C, where we expect to build a 5-wave pattern within an ending diagonal. And as this structure still remains very much incomplete, we clearly lack one more high to consider a pattern full in this area, we actually have a decent amount of clarity of the expectations we have for this pattern. So we have the support zone between $231 down to $118.6 to still look for a wave 5 to be built within this area. And as long as we hold this 61.8% retracement, we cannot really be too bearish on this chart, as once again the structure looks severely incomplete and it looks like it really needs one more high to consider a more substantial top to be in place within a larger structure in this area. And this is not to predict that something more bearish couldn't be possible, but at this point I strongly prefer that we follow through within this interpretation, and without evidence that something more bearish would indeed be going on, I will continue to focus on this as my primary interpretation. Now, in this structure, once again, we are tracking an ending diagonal within this wave C. So we are looking to build only an ABC pattern within this wave 5 to new all-time highs. So primarily, we have been focusing on this wave 4 correction to determine when we should expect a more likely bottom. And so far, it isn't looking too likely to have the bottom already in place, but that doesn't mean it cannot be the case for this to already start the reversal to the upside. Ultimately, there are many possibilities of how this correction could unfold. I could see even a bottom to be in place, but in terms of probabilities, I do prefer that we actually extend within this wave 4. Also from a proportions perspective, as typically within the wave 4, we expect similar dimensions with the wave 2. And so far, it is getting there, it is getting quite close. And this correction has been sharper than what we had within the wave 2, so it can offset some of that time-wise extensions by having such a deep correction. But still, it is something to notice. And not only that, but we are currently looking at a potential leading diagonal that could have formed in this structure to the downside, and let's actually talk more about that. So, in this structure, we have been looking for a couple of options that could have allowed even a bottom to be in place, and we have been tracking this orange interpretation to allow potentially even an impulse to be forming in this area. Now that we actually retraced quite high within this wave 4, even if it wasn't a sustained break in this reset, we do not see this scenario as a very high likelihood any longer. So if we managed to extend directly in a wave 5 from the previous top that pushed perfectly into the last level of resistance, it would have been proportional enough with this as a wave 2 to be able to reliably track this structure. But now that we see this extension, I would actually like to track this orange interpretation slightly differently. So I would consider that the wave 1 would have bottomed here, the wave 2 would have topped here, and then the wave 5 would have actually bottomed here, and the diagonal structure would be complete. We wouldn't be looking for any extensions lower within this interpretation. Thus, it would allow us to look for a wave A to be in place within this structure, to look for a wave B correction and a wave C to take us to even lower prices. And this would even be a strong preference, as if we get an initial 5-wave pattern, we expect with high probabilities a 3-wave correction, typically a 3-wave correction in something like a wave B, and then trend continuation within a wave C in another 5-wave pattern. So this structure is strongly suggesting that if we have completed this movement to the downside, this wave, we should expect a wave B correction and a C wave to take us even lower before looking for a more likely bottom within this wave 4, as within this wave 4 we actually require to complete a 3-wave correction. So for the idea of having a bottom in place within this structure, we will focus continuation to lower prices, and this white resistance area can actually be tracked as orange right now, as within the orange interpretation I see it kind of difficult to look for extensions. Sure, this wave 5 could technically extend, but I don't necessarily see that as a high likelihood, and I have another scenario that would actually fit better the idea of an extension to lower prices. So within this structure, I am actually seeing another pattern emerge with the latest developments, this latest extension to higher prices in what is quite apparently a corrective pattern, and I'm looking at this to have been actually an A wave down here, a B wave up, and a C wave that could actually take place and allow a bottom to form within a wave 4 much sooner, because we would be able to track a 3-wave pattern in such a development. Now, within this structure, we would like to see this wave C extend to lower prices, yeah? As within a wave C, we expect to build a 5-wave structure, and so far we only have a 3-wave pattern complete, which would be suggesting to us that yes, we would require to see one more low before considering a count to be full within such an interpretation. And of course, once again, it is still perfectly possible to track this wave 4 in yellow as a complete pattern, but we do not have a particularly high probability structure that would be able to consider a wave 4 complete within this area, because I repeat myself for probably the 3rd time here, the wave 4 is expected to be a 3-wave pattern, not a 5-wave structure, which is what we're tracking in the orange wave A. So, in the white expectation, we are looking for this wave C to build once again a 5-wave pattern, where in the wave 4, we have already a 3-wave correction in place, perfectly into the 50% retracement, and we are looking to form an ending diagonal here, in which case we would like to see within this wave 5 an A, B, C structure unfold. Now we can actually even look for an ideal target for this wave C in the white interpretation, and that would be the 100% extension of the wave A, which in the case of this structure sits at the $121 level. Now, this is an ideal target, it can be overshot, it doesn't need to be reached, but overall it is a region, we can think of it as an area where the wave C is generally drawn towards, and it is also pretty much in line with the larger level of support in yellow, the 61.8% retracement, the last level of support, yeah, just a few dollars away, where we also have structural support, and we actually have here this higher low that sits perfectly in line with our 100% extension. Now, once again, it can even shoot below this for a brief moment, it can even break the 61.8% retracement. As long as it is not a sustained break, this structure can still manage to create the reversal to higher prices from this region. So personally, as long as we actually stay below this area of resistance in white, I do prefer this structure. This seems like a better pattern to develop, and in terms of probabilities of which pattern is more likely to develop on this chart, I don't have a strong preference, but I believe for the large time frame within the yellow structure, the white interpretation fits better. Yeah, with such a sharp decline, it is acceptable to not have as large of a wave 4 as we would typically expect, and within the large time frame context, we would strongly expect to form one more high on this chart before looking for a more substantial top within a much larger degree time frame. Because remember, once we have a top within this yellow wave 5, we are not completing just this wave C to the upside, we are completing this entire wave 3, which would mark a quite substantial top and would expect a decently sized wave 4 correction, yeah? Much bigger than what we had within the current development in a wave 4. And for now, we can sure take a brief look in the smaller time frame, but there isn't much to be offered here, there isn't much to focus on here, right? My primary expectation would be that within this wave 4, we have a top in place. I wouldn't overthink the structure, could be a WXY pattern, doesn't really matter in the end. We have a 3 wave move to the upside complete, and we are looking to develop an ABC structure to complete this wave 5. And so far we only see a 3 wave move to the downside, nothing particularly suggesting that we should expect continuation to even lower prices, but we don't have too much of a promising movement to the upside either. And sure, we could be looking for a large leading diagonal to be building from the current prices, so we could be tracking a support zone down to $145, where so far within this movement, within this 3 wave pattern, we have extended perfectly into the 50% retracement. Now, if we break above the 61.8% retracement in white at $176.4, it becomes significantly more likely that the orange interpretation is going to come out on top, but until that happens, I will be looking for continuation within this wave 5 in white. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoy our content and want to support us directly, check out our channel membership. And as a thank you for any of these actions, I would like to invite you to sign up to our channel newsletter, where you get access to our monthly top, where we identify for you high quality structures. The link is in the description and it is completely free. And other than that, let me know what else you would like me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.